Hi everyone, welcome back to Rather Than Official. And in this video, we're going to take a look at Cat Pics Generator, a cats API that will help us to generate automatically different images of cats. So we're going to enhance the skills on Fetch API, and we are able to build a quite fun project that will actually generate us some random images of cat. So let's get started. Just to take a look at the project, we have the simple image of a cat, then we have a heading and a bootstrap theme generate button. So when you click generate, it's just going to automatically generate your cat pic right down somewhere here. All right, not only cat pic, you're also able to get gifs of cat and several other things of cat, just not your only image. So as I told before, you're also able to get some gifs. So it's just a quite fun little project to try. And let's get started. So I'm just going to put it up right here. All right, and also before that, I want to show you guys the API itself. So this is the API. It's named the Cats API Developer Experience. If you haven't watched my other video, which was the Cats API, I took the facts, I built an application. We built an application to find the facts of the cat. We got some results as well. So in this video, we're going to generate some individual images and different images of cats. All right, so this is the API that we are going to look at. So this is called docs.thecatapi.com, and we have an API key as well. We don't need an API key anyway. We can just simply get started because it's a public API. And also we have the quick start get start menu, which we are going to just take a look at in order to work with that. So simply, as they say, you want to be able to grab this one. This is the data, and you're going to get an array of objects, a JSON response. All right, so if I paste it right here, it's going to give me a link with the URL, which is the image. So what I want to do, I can refresh this as much as I want. The simple thing I want to do is I want to grab this HTTP image, which I'm going to copy this, and automatically in the code, I just want to copy the URL and link it to my image. And like that, I'm able to see some images like this. So if I refresh it again, then I can get another HTTP, another JSON data. If I copy this and I copy that, and if I paste this up, okay, once I refresh, it's gonna generate another cat image. Okay, and now not just that, you can actually have breeds, different breeds. For example, if I go to API reference, list of cat breeds, and they have given you an example here how the code basically gives you and how the code looks like. So if you want to search by breed, you want to come right here. So this is the link for the breed, which is basically the same image, but it's going to have a question mark and say breed IDs is equal to the breed ID. So in this case, we have to pass any breed ID that we want. For example, they've given here, which is the Bang. All right. So if I just copy this up, and if I Control A paste this, and if I generate an image, it's going to generate the JSON data. It's going to give us so much, and if you want from that, you can also copy this URL and paste it and get an image like that. But we are not going to do that in this video. We're just going to take a look at a basic cats generator, image generator only. Alright guys, if you love this video, drop a like and subscribe. Anyway, let's get started. So I have the finished version right here, so I'm going to maximize that. Alright, and then I'm going to minimize that, and I'm using Visual Studio Code as my editor. Feel free to use yours. I'm going to refresh that. All right, so now just to take a look at the file structure, we have a folder called assets, which contains a bootstrap and also the image of a cat image. And we also have an index.html, which is pretty much empty, and also a script.js, which is also pretty much empty. So now guys, we can simply get started with the video, and I'm just going to go first with the HTML markup. So first you want to do is basically generate a simple boilerplate, and then we're going to name this cats image generator, Pics Generator. Okay, that's what we want. And in the body guys, we're going to have a couple of stuff. All right, so in the body, I want to give it a class, a bootstrap class of Jumbotron. She's Jumbotron. All right, so we also need another class, text center, in order to make any text, whatever we have inside this body, in center. And inside the body, we want to have a couple of elements. And the first thing I want an h1 and inside the h1 I want to call this cats pic generator. I'm gonna call it cat. Okay, and I also want to see this. I also want to open this up in a live server. So I'm just going to go right here and click on open live server. If you don't have live server, come back here to extensions and search up live server. You'll be able to find it out. All right, let me open this open live server. I was going to open this up in a port. All right, this is what I want. Okay, so come back, and this is what I get for now. So we have these classes, but it's not pretty much working. It's just because we need to connect our CSS. So in order to do that, you want to come above the link or inside your head tag and make sure you go inside the assets folder and then click on Bootstrap or CSS. And once you do it, we're going to get something like that, which is pretty cool. And in the h1, guys, we need some we don't actually need any classes. And now I'm just going to go create an image tag, and inside this source I'm just going to set the assets, and inside the assets we have a cat png. And once you save it, it's going to be pretty big like this, and then I'm going to give it a class for now in order to grab it. So I'm going to say class, and I'm going to say text centered. Say text centered. Okay, once you do it, it's pretty much going to get centered. All right, so in order to make sure this image have to be pretty small, so for that I'm going to go above the head, all right, below the title, and inside that I'm going to have a style tag. I don't want to create a particular new file. It's because it's only about like 5 lines of code. So I'm going to say img. I'm going to get the image, any image in this HTML. I'm going to set the width to actually 30%. And once I do it, I'll be able to see a very small little image, which is what I want. I'm going to separate it like that, and then once it's done, I also don't need an alt tag in this. I'm going to get rid of that. And after the image tag, we also need a generate button. Okay, for that you just have to say a button, and you want to add some classes to it, which is a btn and also a btn primary, in order to get a blue color button. If you save it up, you have something like that. So in this case, I'm going to have generate, and once you guys get, it's going to be aligned near the image. For you to center that, you just simply want to go up to the image and just give a break tag, and once you save it, it's going to look like this. It's because we have given a align center or text center in our body. Okay, and once you have done that, we have to have some padding to it or a margin. And for that, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go inside the button, and I'm going to add a class to it called margin top and bottom of 2. And once you do it, it's going to get pretty much a basic margin. And also I want to set some margin for the cat png also. So I'm going to say margin top of 4, and it's going to give me bottom and top, and it's going to give me pretty good gap, so then actually it looks pretty nice of it. All right guys, so once that's done, I think that's actually the part of the HTML. And make sure, before we get started with the script, make sure you start with the JavaScript. Make sure you connect your source, which is script.js for me, and name it whatever you want. So let's go back and connect it. Let's say script.js. All right, so it's connected, and now that's what we need. And also, before I get going, I also want another element, which is a div, in order to put my images inside this. We're going to do this, automate this in JavaScript, but for now we need to have a simple simple div, okay, which has nothing, which pretty much has nothing inside it. So I'm just going to call it cats image div. Feel free to call whatever you want. Okay, so we're basically going to have a couple of image tags inside it through JavaScript. So as far as index.html, that's it, and we will never touch this again. And I'm going to get rid of that, and now I want to go for the script tag to get started with the script tag. Alright guys, now we have actually done the index.html, and we can move with the script.js. So just to get the application, what we need, once we click on this generate button, we need some function to happen. So in this case, let's check whether the button click is actually getting handled and working. So for that, I'm going to go to the button, and I'm going to give it a class of generate btn. All right, I'm going to give a class of generate btn, And once you save it up, we're going to go for the JavaScript, and then you want to create a DOM element. And for them, I'm going to say generate btn is equals to document dot query selector, and then I'm going to pass the link, and it should be generate btn. All right, that's what I need. And once if anyone clicks on this button, I need something to happen. So I'm going to say generate btn dot add an event listener. If anyone clicks on this, just alert one for me. So it's automatically alerting. It means that we have an error. So let me just console. All right, we can't alert like that. We want to basically run a function and then alert. Okay, and then let's say alert and say one over there. That's what you can't straight away have an alert right there. You want to be able to have a function and then alert. Okay, so once I click generate, it's going to alert me. Alright guys, so once it's done and it's actually working, now we can actually get started creating our function. So I don't need a function like this. I'm going to create a function. Alright, so I'm going to say once if anyone clicks inside this button, I want to run a function called fetch pics. Okay, so this function is main aim of this function is to grab any pic that the fetch API returns, convert it to convert the JSON file, and then create an element and display this inside this. So that's what we want. All right guys, so let's say dot, so we can basically create a function. So first of all, let's create it. Let's say function, and let's call it fetch pics, and then we have a function. Alright guys, so just to make sure this function works, let's say alert 1 when we click it. So once we click it, it's alerting 1. So the function is working. So the first thing that I want to do, I want to create a variable which is called cat's image. No, let's do that in a bit. But for now, let's see whether the API is actually working. So what I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to use a fetch API. So I'm going to say dot, I'm going to say fetch, and inside this I'm going to pass the endpoint URL. all right, so for that I'm going to go and grab it, which is right here. Okay, I'm going to grab this load. We want to basically load this up. So I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to simply paste this inside a quotes. Okay, so we are not going to manipulate anything inside that because it's just returning a JSON data which has some simple URL. So we don't anyway want to monitor this data. So once you're done having the link in the fetch, then we want to basically get the response. So then you want to say dot then, and you want to get the response. Okay, and now once you get the response, you want to simply map this response to a response.json. That's what we want, guys. Okay, simply once I finish getting, it should be okay, let me say it like that. Come back, JSON data, and I want to just put it like that. All right, so yeah. All right guys, so what I'm basically doing, I'm just simply getting the dot then. I'm basically getting any data response, and I'm just going to respond this. My formatter is pretty bad, so I'm going to first of all disable my formatter. So I'm going to say format and save, go to my settings. So by chance if you're using any formatters, so you can disable by format and save. So you don't want to click here to get rid of that. Okay, and now the formatter wouldn't work. All right guys, so what I need, I want to just catch the dot then. I want to get the response, and then simply just simply map this up to the response I get from the JSON. So I want to say the response.json. So once I get that, I'm going to say dot then. I want to get the data. Okay, so let me get the data, and what I want to do, I want to basically map this data. Okay, so I'm going to map this data, and I'm gonna console.log whatever data we receive. Okay, that's just simply it's what I want to do. So I'm going to inspect the element, and I'm going to grab my console, and let's clear this up. Okay, sorry, it should be clear. Sorry, it should be clear. Oh my god, it's not working. But anyway, all right, so we basically want to click generate. Okay, so once we click generate, we need to get some information logged in. Okay, so make sure you have connected to your internet, and there we go. We get an object. Okay, which returns an object, an array which returns an object which has a length of 1, plus it has all the URL and the ID and all of this stuff. But for this video, we only want to grab this URL because that's what we want. So if I just copy the URL, whatever we get, if I copy that and if I just paste it in a new tab, it's going to simply, sorry, it should be this one, I guess. Maybe I can copy the URL the codes. Okay, so let me delete that, Control A, copy that. If I paste it up and save it up, if I paste it up and save it, it's gonna give me access denied. It's just because the host has a problem. So just to get rid of that, and this is the basic URL. Now if I copy this up for now, let me copy this. Okay, let me copy that, and if I go to Brave and if I just paste it up here, I'm just going to simply get a cat image. Okay, and by the way, most of the cat image are pretty much low quality, so some of them are good quality. I just wanted to say you guys, because if you're thinking this is one of sort of a professional image generating API, that's not the way. Okay, so just a tip I want to give. And then once you're done with that, guys, I want to get the console, whatever I console.log. I don't want the console.log. I want to do something with this data. So I'm just going to create a simple variable inside that. Okay, so I'm going to say I'm going to get the cat URL, right? So before you want to create a variable, I need to show you guys how I'm going to get this particular URL. Okay, now if I save it, and as I showed before, if I log you out, it's going to simply give you an object which has so many information: height, the breed, the ID, the URL. We don't want this. We only need the URL. So for that, how you only get the URL is it, guys, because it's an array and it's the first element of the array. So we're going to put 0, which is going to get the index of 0. And then what I want to say, I want to strip off the URL, which I only need the URL. Okay, so once I click restart and once I generate, it's going to simply give me a simple URL and not the whole object. And that's what I simply want. I want to be able to just get the URL, not anything else. So once I get the URL, you can simply generate the image tag here right up inside this div and give it the source of whatever source you generate, whatever URL you generate. So that's what we want to do. So what I'm going to do, rather than console.logging, okay, I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to create a variable, and the variable is going to be catch img URL. Now feel free to call whatever you want. I'm going to call catch img URL, which is the image URL. And as I did before, then console.logging, I'm just going to get the data which has an index position of 0, and I'm just going to get the only URL of it. Okay, now you are only able to get this URL because you're getting the response and changing it to a JSON file. Sorry, changing it from a JSON object. So you're basically passing it. Okay, so you want to say .json, the response text, in order to grab the URL, or else it's gonna generate an error. All right. Okay, guys. So now what I want to do, as I've created the URL, I should be able to create an element inside the index.html. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to create a variable called, I'm going to say cat image element. Okay, I'm just going to say image element, and I'm going to say document.querySelector, and actually not a query selector, we should be able to create this element. So I'm going to say create element. Okay, I'm going to say let cat's img element is equals to create an element. We can't do it like that, so you want to say, you want to grab the document and do it. So you want to say document dot create element. Okay, and once you create the element, you're going to be able to pass what element you're going to create, maybe a button, maybe a paragraph. In this case we want to generate an image element. Okay, and now what I want to do, I want to set some attributes to it. So I'm going to say cat's image element, what I've created. I'm going to say dot set attribute, and inside that I'm going to pass what attribute I want to set. In this case it's going to be a source. I want the source of it to be the cat's URL, the image URL. Okay, which is very simple. But the thing is, you can't normally, you have to specify a source inside string and then whatever URL you want to pass. So in this case we want to use a backtick in order to make sure it's going to be a string as it returns, and we want to pass a brackets, and in front of that we want to pass a sorry, let me do it from first. We're going to make sure you have a backticks. Okay, and once you have a backticks, what I want you to do is that you want to create a dollar sign, and inside the dollar sign you're going to pass, it's going to be a cat's image URL. All right, so that's what I want you guys to pass, and if you do that, it's pretty much going to work. All right, so that's just it for that. Okay, so make sure you do it and set the attribute as source. And then once you have done that, you have to simply get the cat's image element, whatever you have created, mg element. Okay, and once you get the element, and you want to add some class to it, so I'm going to say dot classlets dot add. And no, before you want that, let me show you how this is going to simply work. Okay, so let's take a look. We got the URL. Okay, then we created an image element, and then afterwards we created it, we gave it a source, which we gave it to an attribute. And once we did that, we are going to simply get this div. Okay, and we're going to put the image tag inside this thing, saying like image, and then we want to specify a link to it like this. Okay, so we're going to automate this stuff in JavaScript. Automate, which I mean like, you know, working to the DOM. So this is what I want. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to create a variable with the same name. Okay, is equals to the document dot query selector, and then it's going to be a class. I'm going to say dot slash, and I'm going to give the class. All right, I'm going to save it, and then what I want to do, I want to get the cat's image div. Okay, and I want to append this element. So for that you have to say append child, and then what you have to do, what you're going to append. So I'm going to append the cat's image element to it. Okay, and once you do that, it should be, most of the time it should be fair. So that's just it for that. And now if you get an error, it's not going to show up sometimes. So for that, you can, in fetch API, you can catch the error. So you want to say dot catch. Okay, and you have to be able to catch the error. So I'm going to say dot error, whatever error we get, we want to basically map this out to console.log and basically log the error. Whatever error we get, we want to log this out. Okay, and once you save it, that's what we want. Okay, so obviously you can have this in a bracket, though it doesn't matter, but just gonna do the same thing. Okay, so if I just click on generate right now, it should give me an image. So there we go. So basically it's gonna give me an image. Now the image is very small. It's because in the index.html I've set an image width of 30%, and it's automatically going to detect any image which comes 30%. So we're going to add a different class to it. So just quickly, I'll add some class. I'm going to create a class called .showcase, a class called showcase, but we haven't still created. But any element with a class of .showcase is going to have a width of 60%. Okay, then just have 60%. Okay, so once image is actually generated, we want to basically add a class to it. So I'm going to say cat's image element dot add dot class list, and I'm simply going to add whatever class I want. So in this case, I'm going to add a class called showcase, which I've already created in my HTML. So once I click generate, it should probably give me the same. Oh, it's giving me the same size of the image. So I'm going to add a showcase, and let's go check the index.html. So if I give it a sort of 100%, let's see whether it's working. So it's a generate, and there we go. So it's pretty much working. So I've given a class of 100%, but that's too much. Maybe like 90% should do. And I'm going to click generate, and it's going to generate me an image. Alright guys, so if you just expand this, the image is going to become big. It's because it's going to basically get the width of the whole document or the browser and then set its width. So in this size, the width is going to be 90%, which is obviously yes. And we text align center, and it's also perfectly fine. So the main problem of the whole code, it should have been finished, but the main problem of the main code is if I click generate again, it's going to simply generate me another image like this. So according to the program I showed you, once I click generate, it will give me an image, which takes time. Yeah, it gives me an image. Once I click generate again, it's going to give me another image. So I want the program to be like that. If you want it to be like that, it's no problem, you can have it. But for me, I'm just gonna simply have only one image, once just one image at a time when I click generate. Okay, so before I want that, I want to give some margin to it. So I'm just going to say margin top of maybe 20 pixels. Once I click generate, just the image so that it has some margin. Okay, so that we have. And now what I don't want it to generate as multiple images as it could generate. I want it to simply so this is also look good, so you can keep on generating as much as you want, but I don't want that. I just want one image per click on a generate button. So basically you would know the basic form, like it's a basic logic. Once I click generate, anyway there's nothing inside it, so we want to set the default value or just a default document of that div just always set to null. And once we click generate, it's going to create an image. And again, once I click it generate, I want this to set it back to null and then create an image. So it makes a lot of sense when I do it. Okay, so what I want, I'm going to grab this one, the div itself, where the image element is put. So I'm going to come up to it right here. Okay, I'm going to paste it first of all here, and I'm going to get the cat img div dot inner html. Whatever is inside that, I simply want it to be null or nothing in the first time when we click the fetch, when we click the generate button. So once I click generate right now, it's going to simply generate me an image. Alright guys, so it's basically generating me an image or a GIF. So as I told before, you can generate as much as GIFs and image you want. And once I click generate again, that whatever inside the element is simply going to disappear, and then we are just going to get a new image like this. So that's what we want. So if you want to have multiple images, you can simply have it, and that's just completely it for your preference. So that's just it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you loved it. I hope you enhanced your skills or some understanding in Fetch API. So that's just it for the video guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.